August 10th, 2012, from the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in Warwick, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For August 10th, 2012, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. Miley Cyrus has an abdomen, but it's not visible from the side. Chinese legal experts on high-profile murder trial. Sorry you blinked, we're not going through this again. Fox News website lists headline, Why Americans Aren't Having Babies and How It Hurts Us, in its careers section. Telling. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, donning his stylish chapeau cool, suddenly gets the joke. Blames parents. Arizona mass shooter Jared Lee Loughner pleads guilty to 19 counts of murder and attempted murder. Prosecutors report the thrill is gone. Bic giving away 30,000 pens. What people will do with them, I don't know. Mitt declares his love for Paul Ryan. Coming up after the break, Randy Travis's misadventures in role modeling, Romney loves Ryan, and NASA's unsung triumph.
Your childhood. George Lucas. In 1977, George Lucas made your childhood. In 1997, George Lucas took your childhood away. In 1999, George Lucas made you watch as he bent your childhood over a stump. Now, George Lucas wants you to watch him violating your childhood in 3D. Finally, someone is here to stop George Lucas from defiling your childhood memories anymore. But we need your help. The original trilogy Restoration Alliance has been established to raise all the money necessary to distract George Lucas from thinking Star Wars needs to be revised again. Please, give generously. This is our most desperate hour. Help us save your memories. You're our only hope.
Randy Travis. So, Mitt's doing so bad that even Fox News is speculating on what he needs to do to turn his campaign around. Of course, now that he selected Paul Ryan as his VP choice, he's sealed his fate as the former 2012 GOP presidential hopeful. If Romney had any hope of using his record in Massachusetts to sway even marginally liberal or progressive independent voters from outside Massachusetts to his side for the presidential run, he just dashed those hopes against some particularly large, sharp, and swarming with red-tide rocks. Paul Ryan's budget promises to alienate every minimum wage and fixed-income American, except those who identify with the Tea Party movement. For them, as long as you've got your government hands on their Medicare, you're the enemy. The recent execution in Texas of Marvin Wilson, whose IQ, somewhere between 61 and 74, made him about as intellectually robust as a typical 5-year-old, flies in the face of the Supreme Court's 2002 decision in the case of Atkins v. Virginia, which identified execution of mentally retarded persons as cruel and unusual punishment. Should the mentally disabled be subject to the same kinds of punishment as ordinary adults? Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
Of course they should. God gave them free will, and they chose to do the crime. I'm pretty sure Jesus had something to say about executing retards, and he was for it. Amen. Woo!
There really is no cure for willful stupidity, I guess. Look, we all know that our criminal justice system is fallible. We know that some people are incapable of the kind of thought that would otherwise go into the sort of insight, self-control, and moral decision-making that would prevent them from committing or participating in crimes. The only benefit to society that executing a person of diminished mental capacity offers is that the taxpayers no longer have to support that person in prison. The problem is that the integrity of prosecutors, especially when they think they have a slam dunk on their hands, is questionable. Juries, especially in states like Texas, are prone to emotional response, rather than rational analysis of the evidence on offer. Public defenders are, more often than not the most vigorous defenders. Combine that with the general distaste for minorities, immigrants, and intellectuals, and you have a recipe for disaster. The death penalty is problematic at best. In the hands of a state like Texas, it is a national embarrassment.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. Mars rover Curiosity landed safely on the surface of the Red Planet in one of the most impressive single feats of engineering in human history. Americans barely look up from Facebook to ignore the lack of live TV coverage. Among Americans who were aware of the landing and had any opinion at all, the opinions seem to fall into one of four categories, in order of increasing commonality. Number 4. This is the coolest thing ever! A triumph of science and engineering and humanity! And it hasn't even begun doing science yet! I think I need to change my underwear. 3. This is way too expensive and dangerous. There are far too many problems here on Earth, like failing education, collapsing industries, starvation, and climate change to be able to justify this expenditure. Besides, what can a nuclear-powered SUV on Mars tell us about climate, geology, chemistry, biology, and further, how can that help us save starving children and end wars? It can't. That's how. Number 2. Science frightens me. I read on my smartphone by way of the internet that scientists and engineers do nothing beneficial and actually want to destroy my immortal, omniscient, omnipotent God. What kind of a chance does an omnipotent, omniscient, universe-creating deity have against a couple nerds in lab coats? And number 1, Mars? Isn't that a candy bar? Hey! Where are my I Love Lucy reruns? Can you spot the opinion that's worth anything at all? Don't go away. Coming up after the break, wasted vampires with cell phones, the distinction between a posse and a gang, and your genitals fall off.
For your upcoming wedding, bat mitzvah, or funeral, trust the professionals at Blah's Florist to create the perfect mood-appropriate arrangement. Your special occasion will be so much more special with a Blah's Florist arrangement. Blah's will help your memories be that much more memorable. Call or click today to order your unique and not at all sexually suggestive arrangement from Blah's Florist. Blah's, the florist you shouldn't fear.
Robert Pattinson. And now, here's Ryan Hanley with another Jeff Goldblum fact.
You know Jeff Goldblum. I've heard that Jeff Goldblum can wiggle his ears one at a time. Well, why not both at the same time? Well, oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you, you selfish little slut? You leave him and his ears alone. Back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Fascinating. And now, here's Moose Weintraub with the Sports Half Minute.
Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute. It's a whole half minute of sports. 30 seconds of sports. Moose Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
This is your Sports Half Minute. I'm Moose Weintraub. Two-time Olympic swimming medalist Elizabeth Beisel returns home to North Kingstown, Rhode Island, escorted by state police, and was declared South County's favorite daughter. Thank goodness Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Jhumpa Lahiri was passed up for this honor. I'll bet she can't even swim.
Thanks, Moose. Always a great report from Moose. The Insane Clown Posse has expressed dismay and anger with the FBI, stating that the group's superfans are not a gang. In 2011, the FBI, in its National Gang Threat Assessment, referred to elements of the group's fan base who self-identify as Juggalos as exhibiting gang-like behavior and engaging in criminal activity and violence. The group's principal members, Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope, complained that their fans have been mischaracterized and are soliciting fans for reports of harassment and mistreatment resulting from the FBI's assessment in order to sue the FBI. With the name of the group's private record label, Psychopathic Records, the group's name, and the amount of sexism, racism, cannibalism, murder, and necrophilia depicted in their music, to say nothing of the air of in-group, out-group sentiment wafting around Juggalo events, and the admissions of criminal suspects that they are Juggalos, I'm sure Violent and Shaggy will have an easy time demonstrating that it's all rainbows and unicorns over there in ICP land. And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? In a turn of events which is making intelligent design advocates cheer with victorious abandon, new antibiotic strains of the sexually transmitted disease gonorrhea, also known as the clap, have arisen, reducing the palette of treatment options available to physicians. Of course, these strains cannot have developed in response to random mutation in fast-reproducing bacteria and selection pressure against strains susceptible to ordinary treatments. No. Indeed, this proves the intelligent design of humans and that the entire universe was made by God as the domain of man. Surely. Well, that's all for this edition of NewsUndies. If you see news that shouldn't be news, you can submit your story tips online at NewsUndies.com. NewsUndies is a bi-weekly show. We'll be back on Friday, August 24th with fresh undies. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be ordering a container load of Flex Seal.
Why don't you give us one more? Really? I thought I stuck that one. Let's have another one. All right. Here goes. All right, that's good. Really? I'm done? Yep. Where do I go now? Well, back in your box. Can we do another take? Just for safety or something? No. Ah, crap.